when we were talking about this earlier today, I'm like, I feel like we have been here before.
Oh, yeah.
And if we go back to 2018, it's not that far, right? Republicans were in a similar situation in 2018. Republican leadership, elected Republican leadership, were telling then President Trump, hey, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We need to focus. We need to get something to run on. And Trump did not believe them.
Yeah.
He also centered himself in that election, and that was an election where Democrats won 40 seats in the House. It was the largest gain in the House since, like, after Watergate, since 1974. You would think they would have learned from this, but the president is doing the exact same thing he did last time. Is he expecting to get different results? I don't know.
Does he ever learn from anything that he does? I think you're right. This is Groundhog Day, and we have found ourselves in the same position. And not only that, you know, when we look at some of the Trump endorsements from this year in the Senate, he's done very well. They have all won the primary, but we have to think of the broader picture. 10 of the Trump endorsed Republican candidates have lost their primaries. When you add that up, that is the same as 2018, 2020, and 24 combined. The only time he's done worse was in 2022, which was also a midterm year. So you would think that he would try something a little bit different, but no, I'm not surprised that this is a strategy he wants to follow.
Well, and he also has a bigger problem, I would argue, than in 2018. He's got the Iran war, a war that no one wanted, and his voters, most of all, did not want. And so when I'm looking at these Republican primaries, I'm not seeing that necessarily they aren't still with Trump. I'm seeing that they just aren't as enthusiastic about him, and they might not turn out to vote. Do you think that turnout is actually the real threat when it comes to these general elections in the fall?
I do, especially because we see that Trump has again hit his lowest approval rating, which is at 33%. And we know that that approval rating has also dropped amongst Republicans. But when you're looking at the general electorate, to be at a 33% approval rating, if I'm a Republican candidate, I'm trying to stay away as far away from you as I can, if possible, especially if I'm in a purple area. So, yes, I think that there isn't a ton of enthusiasm. Not only is it the Iran war, but the cost of living, gas prices. When you add all of that, it makes sense that people aren't very excited about it.
You know, I think it's what Elise says, and she knows this a little bit more closely because you do the focus groups and you're talking to a lot of voters out there, and I think that point is a very important one about the enthusiasm of the base and how it turns out. But this. Primaries are primaries.
Yeah.
And what I've learned in my experience dealing with primaries is that they can be a tell for what's to come. And so Trump's problem and his candidates' problems are not the fact that their primaries are underperforming. Candidates are squeaking by. The narrowness of the victories in these primaries we just talked about. If I'm a chairman in a county or chairman of a state, is very foreboding because it says to me that in a critical area in my state or in my county or my district where I'm going to need to have you turn out, you're not inclined to do that. The Democrats are very much inclined to turn out, as Simone can tell you, and other guests who've been here can tell you who are looking at what's happening on the ground. So what then does a candidate do? I believe the Senate is on the verge of being gone. Yeah. For a lot of reasons. I called a year ago that it was going to go. I think it's right there. It's in that sweet zone, and it's largely because of this. It's largely because now you're going into the general election cycle, and the voters on one side are really hyped, and that would include not just Democrats, folks. It includes Republicans like myself and independent voters, right, who are not going to vote for anybody that Trump put his imprimatur on and really can tell the party to go itself. How do you see it?
I agree with you. In our Republican corner here, I
got a whole Republican half of the table. Justice for the liberals.
So I agree with you here about the enthusiasm, about who's going to show up, who's going to turn out. And people are frustrated. I mean, what else do you expect is going to happen? But instead of seeing the writing on the wall, what he's done is he's put a lot of money likely going to be behind his own ads to tout how well he's doing. And not only only that, I see a candidate, I believe it was Kentucky 6, where he was early Trump supporter. Trump is all over the website, America First fighter, and now he has an independent, he's a Republican, but he's an independent fighter for you.